Hey, what's up guys, I'm Hyatt and welcome back to Victoria 3 as we are playing as the United States. So before we jump into today's episode, I want to cover one thing that we haven't really talked about in this series yet, and that is pop conversion and pop assimilation. So conversion is when a pop is converted to a new religion, and assimilation is when they change to a new culture. The key here is that the way these work is opposite from each other. So a pop will not assimilate to another culture if they are discriminated against. So if let me just go into the laws here. So let's say, obviously we're a multiculturalism, so we're not discriminating against anybody. But let's say we are on racial segregation, which means that if they do not have the same heritage cultural trait, then they will be discriminated against. And the heritage cultural trait is basically where that culture is generally considered to be from. Are they from Europe? Are they from Africa? Are they from Asia? So on. And so basically if they're a different race is the way that this is supposed to work. If they're a different race, then they'll be discriminated against, and if they're not, then they won't. And so if they're not being discriminated against, then they will convert to one of your primary cultures eventually. Now, you got a lot of different modifiers that you can get from this. I think that one of the key ones we're currently getting is from the public schools. And that's a 62.5% assimilation bonus. And so basically, any culture that's not our primary culture, any pop that has a culture that's not our primary culture, they will slowly assimilate. It takes a long time to happen, but any culture that you are discriminated against, basically it's looked at as you can't assimilate because you're not accepted in that country. So you can't become considered an American because the current country, the current government, and the people in the country are discriminating against you. Now, this really the laws here really only handles how the government feels about the people. So even though we might have multiculturalism, this doesn't mean that all the people in our country are not racist or don't discriminate against other people based on their culture, their race, or whatever. That's not really what that applies to. It's just based on the government. So our government doesn't discriminate against anybody based on their culture. And so, the idea here is that, they wouldn't be able to assimilate because they're not accepted. So if you're not very open to other cultures, then you'll see that you'll actually have a lot of different cultures in your country, kind of. Because remember, whether or not pops will come to your country in the first place, will migrate to your country, is often based off of discrimination. So if current culture is being discriminated against here in America, then they're not going to want to move here. They're not going to want to migrate here. And those that are here are more likely to migrate to a location that they're not discriminated against. Now, the one exception here is the homelands. If a culture has a homelands in your country that you control, then they'll want to stay in those homelands regardless of whether or not they're being discriminated against. Instead, it'll make them more likely to try and rebel against you and create their own country or join another country that wouldn't discriminate against them, a country that's of their same culture. Now, the religion is the exact opposite for the conversion. So with the conversion, they will only convert if they are being discriminated against. So basically they see, that it's beneficial to them to convert to another religion because if they stay in their current religion, then they're going to be discriminated against. Now, we're doing total separation, so we're not discriminating at all. So let's say we had state religion. That means we discriminate against every pop that is not of exactly our religion and denomination. So we would discriminate against, if we were a Protestant country, we'd discriminate against fellow Christians if they weren't exactly Protestant. So Catholics would be discriminated against. Now, some people on the forums have made the argument that it doesn't make a lot of sense for the United States to have total separation because of the fact that Catholics were discriminated against here in the United States for a very long time. It wasn't until relatively more recently that you saw Catholics not get discriminated against so much here in the United States. So people say, that we shouldn't have total separation, but remember, this is not based off of whether or not discrimination happens. It's whether or not it's basically written into the system. Is it institutional discrimination? Are there laws that are against Catholics? For example, historically, there are many European countries that had it written into their laws that a certain religion, usually, it's a Protestant country, they won't allow Catholics. If it's a Catholic country, they won't allow Protestants. Certain denominations of Christianity or whatever or specifically stating that you have to be a certain religion, you have to be Catholic, you had to be Protestant or whatever. There were laws that said you couldn't be in the government. So you see laws that were actually on the books that discriminated against people based on their religion. That was not the case here in the United States. As far as our national government goes, it was a total separation of religion and state. So while that was certainly the case, that doesn't mean that there wasn't discrimination against people who weren't of a particular faith. It certainly happened, but that's not what that applies to. So basically, if you are discriminating against a religion, then pops of that religion will convert slowly. And again, you'll see the school system that you have. There's one that does give a benefit for conversion, 100% bonus here for religious schools. And there's several things that can impact the assimilation rate, the conversion rate. All right, so let's go and hop into today's episode. I got a bunch of construction sectors building. I think I did 12. That should get us up to almost 1,000. So yeah, we got these constructed, and that'll get us up to 88 total construction sectors, and I put those at the top so we can use those for what we're currently building. And the first thing we need to do here is go ahead and change up our production methods. So I looked through these, and the only one I saw that we need to change is furniture manufacturers. There's a couple of these that I think should go to the precision tools because furniture is not very expensive, while luxury furniture, we've had some problems with that. I think there's only a couple of these, so it's not going to make a huge difference here. You're going to get 100 less furniture and 200 more luxury furniture. And most importantly, it's going to be more profitable for those particular factories that we have. So there's also one in here as well, and that's the livestock ranches. We're going to move over to the mechanized slaughterhouses. This is going to be a lot more profitable, which you can see, they could certainly be making more money. They're not the most profitable of our industries. And they're going to be making a lot more meat, and it's going to require coal. So go ahead and change that up. And then there's also one over here, which we looked at last episode. That's going to be changing over to the electric trains. It's going to make transportation super, super cheap, drastically increase infrastructure, and basically make them more profitable. It's going to require less coal. So coal is going to get really cheap, but a lot more engines and electricity. So it's going to be a problem overall. Now, we are going to lose 104,000 laborers, but we're going to gain 104,000 machinists. This one's probably going to make the biggest impact on our country. And what I'm thinking that we should do, because we just switched over that and don't need as much infrastructure, maybe we should go ahead and switch over to the steel passenger cars, because you also notice that they're not very profitable now because of those goods getting so expensive. And so we went to this. I mean, it does result in more transportation, which isn't worth anything. And so we're going to need to switch up some buildings to use transportation now. It's going to require more steel and a lot less employees overall. And I think that's where you're making so much more money. But because we just switched over to electric cars, the loss of infrastructure is no longer as big of a problem. So let's go and switch that up, guys. Obviously, it's going to have some impact on our country. And so I think we should switch up to using rails anywhere where we can, which I don't know that you can use rails in any of these buildings here. There might be a few. I guess you got the urban centers. So you could, use transportation here to require less laborers. But I don't think that's the best way to do it. I think we should instead be switching up these ones to, change over to the rail transportation anywhere we haven't done it yet. So like these coal mines, for instance. I think most of them we have already changed up. There's a few places that we haven't. This is going to result in a ton of people being fired as well, so that's going to be a little bit of a problem. Yeah, that's a lot of people being fired, and you're not really creating much need for additional transportation, so it's not going to be that helpful, but maybe switch some of these up. This is the rail log carts. Overall, not that beneficial. We could switch over to this one, though, the rail transportation. Fishing wharfs, that does require more transportation, but also more electricity. So I don't think that's worth it in this particular case. I think that's probably good, guys. So we made a lot of changes. We're actually making a lot less money because of them. And so we just need to take a look to see what has increased in prices here. All right, so some of this we're already solving. Like the sulfur mines, yeah. We're solving a lot of these issues already. Or hopefully solving them. But some of these do need to be dealt with. So steel, that's one I didn't see in here. So I'm thinking that's one we're going to want to fix. Let me just double check here. There's the lead mines. Yeah. So we're going to want to increase the production of steel. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so we'll work on that first. And we're just going to add all these in here. Remember, we're working on all that construction right now, those construction sectors. So we're going to be able to build a lot more here soon. So yeah, let's go and get more steel mills. And I suppose we'll get 2 more in Indiana. And then I think we're going to spread this out again and start another steel mill location. And I think we're going to do this in New York, guys. Let's go up by, let's just do these 7 for now. And then we'll see how the steel industry looks at that point, what the cost is. And then the other thing we need to do is, now that we got more rubber available, and rubber prices, you know, they're still kind of high, but they're not as bad as they were. We could start getting ourselves some telephones. So I think we should do this in Pennsylvania. They still have the highest number of peasants. They also have a lot of unemployed as well. And one of the unfortunate parts is, you know, when you're doing this building here, it only shows you the number of peasants. What I really think this should be, instead of peasants, is a combined number for peasants and unemployed. I think that's the better way of doing it. Now, when you hover over it, you can see all the available labor. But I really think this should be available labor. That makes far more sense than just looking at the peasants. Because that's really what you need to see here, is how much labor you have available there. So let's go and get the electric industries here in Pennsylvania, because again, they just have the most available labor. And we're going to do probably quite a few of these, because we're going to need them. Because I'm just going to switch all the government buildings over right away as soon as we get those constructed. All right, so we got a lot currently being built. Remember, we're still burning off some infamy. We're at 29 right now. And then once we get that burned off, we're going to be attacking Lower Canada here. Now, some people wanted me to just focus on Central America, the Caribbean. You know, if we're going to fight the British, then we'll take their territory down here rather than going up north. The whole reason why I wanted to go north, I mean, there's some good stuff here. And of course, we could get this state here, Ontario, for the electricity. But the main reason is simply because this looks terrible. Right here, this little, it just doesn't look right. And so we really need to fix that. Now, of course, if we're taking the territory over here, then we're not really fixing it, are we? Because these are those states here. So this is going to require multiple wars overall. But yeah, Canada is not going to be hugely beneficial for us. I mean, it will be because it's kind of a rich country. Well, it looks like there's a play happening over here. Okay, so a peasant revolts that we're going to declare neutrality in. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be beneficial because they're certainly quite rich at the 19.3 million GDP. But when you are sitting at 386 million, I mean, that's not going to make a huge difference for us. It might allow us to get our prestige up above the British, though. Standard living is now sitting at 18, so we're just behind the British. Standard living for the French is a little bit lower than both of our countries here. And yeah, we have a higher GDP than both of them, climbing up in prestige. Population still lower than the British, but it's going up as well. And we have an oil rush subsidies event. So with the groundwork of the Kansas oil industry complete, its appeal and promise is waning among those seeking to carve out their own fortune. So no frontier lasts forever. So we're going to lose some of the bonus they had there. Need to build Kansas up. Because as you guys see, there's still no Topeka here, no capital. Now Topeka is much smaller than Wichita. Wichita's a okay size city, I suppose. I'm not sure the exact number, maybe 300,000 people, somewhere around there. Much smaller than Colorado Springs, which is almost at, I want to say Colorado Springs is 400 something thousand now. It was growing so fast there. Like really fast. And I think it's been that way ever since weed or marijuana was made legal. You know, Colorado is the first state in the U.S. to do that, to make recreational marijuana legal, and they saw a lot of people move there because of it. All right, so oil companies operating in American Alberta have been requesting government assistance in funding a pipeline, promising that its construction will be accompanied by other infrastructure improvements. So we can contribute to the funding of this project, and that state will gain infrastructure. It'll cost us a little bit of money, but not really all that much, and the industrialists will be happy with us. They're already quite low. Or we say this is not in the budget, and then we'll lose opinion with them. You know, this is not a lot of money, guys. So why not? We won't even see that. I mean, good God, we're sitting at 513,000 right now because we just finished up all that construction. Okay, so we need to get some more stuff done. This is the stuff we just assigned them. When we build this much, so we got 1017 now. So when you build this much, it's like you get everything done at the same time, and then you gotta, you know, build a bunch of stuff now. So let's just see where we're at. We should have fixed most of the worst issues. Wine is still high. I think we're gonna change up the way we're doing this, guys. Since we have places to build for the fruit, we don't have to use those farms for fruit anymore. So we're gonna change all those up. And remember, if we make wine too cheap, that's fine because we're actually trading. So with the rice farms, you have to do the fruit. But yeah, with the maize farms, we could just switch completely over to vineyards. It's not gonna make a huge difference, honestly. Yeah, it's not gonna make that big of a difference. But yeah, we're going to switch over to that. We're probably going to have to trade for more wine. We'll see where it's at. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of difference here. So maybe just see if there's any productive routes out here. Maybe we could trade with Russia. Why not? So we're going to trade with them. Now it's only 10, but I'm hoping it will increase in size. We'll see. It says it won't, but again, I've said this before. I think it almost always does. Increase in size, even if it says it's not going to, because at one point it'll be at a better cost and it's more profitable, and then they'll increase in size. And again, the game seems a little bit broken when it comes to reducing the size of you know, something that's not very profitable, a trade route that's not that profitable. And again, we're here with the luxury stuff. Okay, well, that's not too big of an issue. Yeah, everything's looking pretty good at this moment, guys. So let me just see how we're doing on the other end of the scale. Where we might need to start trading some stuff. So yeah, you can see steamers clearly need to be exported. So let's go and start that route. I should probably look and see how much we can export. Quite a bit. Okay. It doesn't look like there's a lot of trade to be had out here, actually. Yeah, not all of this is very profitable. We'll just do these two routes here. And then, frankly, we're probably just going to have to build up our navy a bit more, which I wanted to do anyways. So we'll do that here soon. But let's go in and get... Yeah, that's not really our issue there with the clippers. Oil is a little bit too cheap right now. Well, we're only 5 months from getting the combustion engine, so we can do the cars, and then the oil is going to be very much needed. So I'm hesitant to do too much with this right now. We could always do a trade and then cancel the trade, I suppose, but I don't think there's anybody who really needs it besides the British, and we're already trading with them. Or I thought we were. Okay, so yeah, we can trade with them. Apparently we're not. They must have got canceled or something. Maybe that's why we have so much oil, why it's so cheap. So we'll trade that away. Services, absolutely fantastic. We haven't had any problems with that. And then we could trade away these woods as well. I think I said we'd do that last episode. So let's go and trade these. And looks like this is the most profitable, so it makes sense to do that route. And then we also want to trade the hardwood away. And the French, well, we have a profitable route with them already for just regular wood. So I guess we'll also trade the hardwood away. Probably want to keep the fertilizer kind of cheap. I think everything else is good, guys. All right, so let's go ahead and build up the fleet a bit more, guys, because we clearly have the money to do so. As far as where we want to build these, let me just take a look again at how we're looking. All right, so we got currently 80 in the New England one. So both Seth Dickinson and George Dewey and their 2 HQs are commanding all the ships available, and I think the reason why they can do more than 20 despite not being promoted is because I think they're both popular commanders. or have something that's boosting them. George Dewey's a popular commander. I'm not sure which one he's getting it from. Oh, the celebrity commander. That boosted even further. And so that's the reason why they're actually able to control so many there. I think we should probably just continue to build in these 2 locations. And maybe get them up to 40. Because right now it's, I think they're controlling all the ships there. Because I'm not seeing anything else in the garrison. And so yeah, I think we're just going to do 14 in the Dixie HQ. And then 16 in the Pacific Coast HQ. Okay. So 14 down here. Just kind of see where we've currently built this up. Okay. So we got a lot up over here in Maryland. We haven't built any in Virginia yet. So yeah, we could do some in Virginia. They have a lot of peasants there. So we'll do 10 there. And just looking at these other areas here. Let's do maybe 1 in Texas, 2 in Florida, and 1 in Louisiana to get us up to the 14 there. All right, and then I think it was 14, or excuse me, 16 for the Pacific. Okay, yeah. So 14 here, 16 there. And over here, obviously, we don't have as many options. So yeah, it's going to be easier to pick where we're going to build these. Let's just do 10 in California. Getting kind of close to the cap there. Already 3/4 to it. I think there's still some more text though that'll bring it up a bit higher. So that's 10, and then we'll just do, I don't know, 2 there and 4 here. Get us up to the 16 ships. All right, so that's taking care of some of our construction. Obviously, the ports are pretty quick to be built though, so yeah, we might as well just get a ton of stuff building over here. And I think we're going to work on more furniture manufactories and textile mills. Maybe some groceries. We can always get the coffee down, and then the engines, which I actually think we're going to start on the engines. Yeah, so let's go and start on the engines, guys. And we're just going to build a ton of stuff here, because we can build a ton of stuff here. All right, so we started in California. Texas has also kind of built it up some. Michigan, we could get a little bit higher, I suppose. Yeah, you know what? Let's go a little bit higher here in Michigan. And we'll get 3 in Texas there. You know, at this point, I don't really feel like the order matters at all, so we're just going to build everything we want here. We're going to go and also start building up our arms industries and all that kind of good stuff. We can trade it away if we have too many. We're going to want it for any future conflicts. So let's go and get the military stuff built up as well, guys. And as far as where we're going to build this one up, I think we can do Texas, I suppose. Really kind of pumping into Texas a bit more now. So we're going to go up by 5, and that'll give us plenty for trading. Food industries, another thing I'd like to build up on. Yeah, we could definitely build this up in Kentucky and Tennessee. And we'll do Illinois as well. So a ton of food industries, make groceries really cheap. I think that'll be helpful for our people. I mean, you do still need to make a profit, obviously, so hopefully that doesn't make it too cheap. We'll see. But I'm hoping that they'll end up buying groceries instead of other goods, and then there'll be a higher demand for groceries because they're cheaper, and maybe it'll balance itself out a bit. Furniture manufactories. I'm going to get 2 in Pennsylvania there. I suppose we need to get something going in Ohio. They got even more peasants than Pennsylvania does now. In fact, let's go all the way up by 10 there. So I'm going to build a ton of these guys. Paper mills, we're going to build some more of these as well. Let's go with New Jersey. Kind of spreading out where we're building them in, but also focusing the actual specific industries in these locations here. And I suppose we'll go up to level 5 here for Wisconsin. Just because I don't like it sitting at 4. That's the only reason why. Shipyards, we don't need those right now. We're trading quite a few away. Yeah, probably don't need to get these, but you know, we'll do one more level here. We do need to get the textile mills though. So let's go 3 in New York there. 2 in Massachusetts here. 2 in Florida. And 3 in Jersey. Tooling workshops, we can always get more of those. That's always helpful. Do 1 in Utah here. And 5 in Louisiana. Just look at where else we might want to get these. Georgia and Illinois have a lot of people. We already did the motor industries. We do want to get more ammunition plants, so let's get 1 more in New York, 1 more in Virginia, and then I think we're going to go with South Dakota here. Steel mills, we already got those going. It's not too worried about that. I mean, might need that. Some more synthetic plants. Yeah, we could probably use a few more. We'll do 3 in California. Art academies. We only have the 1 in Pennsylvania. There's just not much of a need for this right now. We'll build it up higher, but yeah, I really don't need it. And it says it's gonna be profitable though, so maybe there's just not enough art for people. And then power plants, we're getting up to 50 here in New York. Question is, do we want to continue building there? We'll actually wait to do any further. I'm gonna see what their efficiency is there, their throughput. I don't know if we've hit the cap yet. I think we could do at least, well, you could do at least 51. If the cap's at 50. So yeah, we'll do the 51 there, and then we'll take a look though and see if we want to get any higher. So let's go and move through the rest of these, see what else we might want to get. I don't know if there's any resources currently needed. We do want to get more logging camps. We did see the coffee was needed, so we'll do more of that. And then probably something for the wine, which would be wheat farms. Would be the best thing for the wine. So we're gonna do some wheat farms here, guys. So let's build 1 there, 3 there, and we'll build here in Oklahoma as well. And then coffee, do more coffee, and I don't have any work here in Guatemala, so the only choice really is Cuba. So do 5 more in Cuba. Maybe a couple cotton plantations. And then looks like the focus of our dye industry is going to be here in Guatemala now, because they can actually do dye plantations. But, you know, we do need to get more workers there. Something we're currently attempting to work on. They don't have unemployed or peasants at the moment. And then tobacco. We can do more tobacco locations. Let's build a lot in Virginia here because they do have so many peasants there. I'll do in Alabama as well. And in Georgia. Okay, so as far as the resources, I think just the logging camps. So we're just going to sort this by peasants, and that's where we're going to determine where we're going to build these up. Yeah, Massachusetts could build up their industry a bit. We'll do a couple here in New York, but they have a lot of stuff that we're currently building, so it's not as big of an issue. Let's go all the way up here in North Carolina. Do a couple in, we'll just do 1 in California. Remember, we're trading away all this wood here, so we can keep building these as long as there's a demand for it. Of course, if the demand for wood drops dramatically, then this is going to be bad for our economy. There's a lot of things that require wood in the game, though. All right, so I think we're good. We should have. I mean, that's really not going to take that long to get all that constructed. Within a year, we'll probably already have it all done. Yeah, just trying to make some progress here. Maybe we just spend a bit of time doing that so that we can just let it play for a bit. So we don't have to constantly be going in there and building new stuff. So an event we've seen before, it's really just a question of who likes us more. And watch them be the same, yeah. They're both the same level of loyalty here. Okay, well, we'll do this one because it's a lower drop for the trade union, just a -1 compared to the -2 here for industrialists. And we don't care if we reduce their strength a bit because they're already pretty damn strong. And I like to balance mine out where no interest group is too powerful. And so once the interest group starts to get a lot of power, so you see here the industrialists are now first. I think the trade unions were first. I think because of that penalty they just got hit. I mean, these are the two that we're trying to reduce in strength a little bit because, yeah, they're overwhelmingly powerful with the industrialization of our country. That's to be expected. Yeah, we'll just try and balance that as best as possible. So despite all the construction we're doing, we're still earning tons of money, guys. The fleet's going to cost us some. as we've getting the ships, you know, all built out. We'll see the costs go up for that. We'll also get some more interest as well. We got an election happening here in 10 days. It looks like France is pulling us into a conflict. Sure seems like it. Maybe a larger conflict as well. Okay, so Australia and Two Sicilies is already opposed to them, and we can go ahead and assist them in this. We don't have an alliance with them at the moment, I don't think. Just kind of double check here. Yeah, we do not have an alliance with them, or else, yeah, we would have been forced into that play. So they want to humiliate Austria on top of taking that treaty port. We're going to leave this open for now and see how things go. But yeah, I don't really see any reason to get involved here. France could fight their own wars. They don't even want to be an ally with us. Anyway, we've tried to be allies with them for some time now. I meant to look at momentum before the election finished up, but we didn't. You see the Communist Party, 51.8% of the vote. The Whig Party, 33.8%. Free Trade Party, only 14.3%. Okay, so we can modify our government. There's not any reason to do so outside of maybe adding the rural folk to the Communist Party. I suppose you could do that because, yeah, they want to join. We're not entirely sure what we would, though. Like, what advantage would we get from having them in government? Like, what would we be able to do that we can't already do? Oh, okay, they got the vanguardists. That's the reason why they want to join the communists. Yeah, I mean, there's not really anything that they're supporting that we're going to want. So I don't really see any reason to modify the government at all and bring another group in. I'm curious if it would increase legitimacy at all. It actually would increase legitimacy. But we're not even passing laws, so legitimacy until the 1.1 patch is still kind of irrelevant. It's just not all that important if you're not passing laws, which I think we talked about this. There's not really any laws that we need to change to, and we can always upgrade these a bit. But for the most part, we're done here. Protected speech. I suppose that's something we'd like to move to. But this would irritate 4 different interest groups, although 2 of those are marginalized. The armed forces would be a bit irritated. We could pass it pretty quickly, though. I think we will move over to that. Now, we will lose the authority bonus there, which we don't have a lot of authority. You know, as a democratic country with the current laws we have, authority is just not our focus here. As yeah, we lose the little bit of authority we do have. So that would be unfortunate. But the technology spread would be nice to have. And so that's the main reason why I want to switch over to it, and I think we will. I don't think it's worth keeping it just for the authority. Now, with the lack of authority we currently have, we can't even get a nice bonus for that. We only have a 2% enactment time bonus, but that one's going to be pretty quick to do, so it's not that big of an issue. We're going to have to change up something anyway, because we're about to go into the negative. Alright, so I think that's what we're going to do, guys. I'm not seeing anything else we would want to change. I think at that point, you're pretty much done. Unless you want to go to like the graduated taxation, but that's going to be such a huge hit to our income. Not be in our best interest, honestly. And I guess we could also go to universal suffrage. Right now we're doing the census suffrage, so you have to be literate in order to vote. And so this would change up probably the politics quite a bit, you know, who does well in elections, which is why the trade unions really endorse it, as do the rural folk. Industrialists would oppose it. Yeah, they would really hate it. They'd lose all the bonuses we're getting from them. Something we're going to do that right now, but maybe something we would want to work on in the future. But for now, let's just go over to the protected speech. People will have free speech in our country. It'll be enshrined in law. All right, so we're going to go and pass that. That's 47.4%. And let's just go and react to the... I don't know how the hell we got way over here. But let's go and react to the fact that we'll have less authority. Yeah, we're going to take care of that now. Are we getting telephones yet? Have we built those up? We got it going now. Okay, because we want to make sure... I want to say we probably already have some built, actually. We want to make sure that we create a demand for those. Yeah, you can see that there is a little bit of a demand, and that's from the pop consumption. So it's enough to keep them, you know, it's enough to keep them all right for now. But we're going to eventually go and change up our government administration buildings. I'm not worried about bureaucracy. But the authority does need to be dealt with. We are making so much, guys. I think we're going to go ahead and pass this off to our pops by turning off the consumption taxes on services. And that's going to hit our revenue pretty hard. Yeah, pretty hard, guys. But we're still making money despite that. And now we're going in the negative. But gold reserves are so high, I'm not worried about it. Not worried about it at all. Russia has taken on somebody's debt. I was hoping that was Russia taking on debt, but that was not the case. So we still cannot take the decision to negotiate the Alaska purchase. And that's the only reason why. Because they're not in default and they're not taking loans. Can survey the Suez Isthmus if we wanted to create build the Suez Canal. I do not want to build the Suez Canal though. So we're not going to do that. But yeah, definitely hitting the negative pretty hard here now, but I'm not too worried about it, guys. And we'll get this bonus from authority, allow us to pass this law a little bit quicker. And Theodore Roosevelt died. Oh no. I don't know that he was the president at the moment though. Yeah, because the trade unions ruler was actually our leader, a communist. So we have a communist president, guys. So very different American history in this campaign than what happened historically. Okay, so he's meticulous. This is going to give us more bureaucracy. I think Roosevelt must have been given a bigger bonus, though. We're actually really far in the negative now. I wonder what happened to hit us so heavy. It must have been Roosevelt's death. He must have been giving us some very nice bonuses. Also, 25% institution size change speed. And then it seems like he'd be very good as commander, too. Not that we can do that with our current government. And then he's also going to grant us 20% authority. Okay, so we got more authority from him. All right, so it looks like we got a bunch of diplomatic plays that are kicking off here. All right, so we'll declare our neutrality in some of these so we're not getting so many notifications. This one's in Indonesia. These are all revolutions. Revolutions happen far too frequently in the game, I feel. And yeah, I don't see why we'd help France out in this. Yeah, we're not going to help France out. If they offered me something, then maybe. You know, that's what we'll do. We'll leave it open so they can offer us something. Because we're leaning towards them. But yeah, unless they offer us something, I don't see why we'd get involved and let our people die. It just doesn't make any sense. So let me take a look and see how things are doing over here. So yeah, telephones, I believe we've probably gotten, yeah, we're working on the motor industry. So let's go ahead and change up our government administration buildings now and have an actual demand for telephones using the telephone switchboards. So that's why I'm not worried about bureaucracy. As you can see, we're going to get a lot. I don't think that's right. I don't think those numbers are right. We've seen that before. There's going to be an import goods shortage on telephones, so that's going to be a problem, but we'll try and get that fixed. Because yeah, you're going to need a lot of telephones now. And 362,000 bureaucrats are going to be hired, while 217,000 clerks will be fired. Taxation capacity should no longer be an issue anywhere. So go ahead and switch up to that. And look at all that bureaucracy we got, guys. So that's looking great. Let's go and take care of a few things that we need to do. So first of all, the interest. Because we built up the fleet, we can now have one more interest. So we're going to get this added. Let's do over here in the Congo. So we can get that taken care of. We need more trade routes, clearly. Okay. So we'll have to build that up. See, tools are expensive. Steel and glass are expensive as well. All right, so all that needs to be taken care of. Well, let's first make use of all that bureaucracy we just got. So we're going to be adding probably everything that can be upgraded. We will upgrade. Yeah, because we have so much available. I think we should be all right doing all of these. And if we're not, we'll build a government administration buildings. All right, excellent. So we've got all 4 of these being upgraded, with our goal being eventually to get to level 5 for all of them. And we will need more government administration buildings in order to do that, but that's not really the priority here. Let's, in fact, take a look and see what's really expensive. So art is actually quite expensive. Okay, so might want to get another art academy. Yeah, we'll do another art academy. I suppose we could do that now. And so we're already building one. Okay, so our props are just getting filthy rich. They want some art now. I thought we'd already gotten that, and that created more demand, but that was not the case. I think a lot of the stuff we're already getting, the luxury furniture and the clothes, I think we're taking care of that. Glass, we are not, though. Yeah, I did not do glass. Okay, so we're going to need to get that. Building, I'm surprised I skipped past that. Yeah, because we knew we need more glassworks, of course. Always need more glassworks. We're going to do 2 in Ohio, 2 in Massachusetts, and then I think we're going to start it up in another location here, guys. Let's go with... I think we're going to go with North Carolina here. We'll build 10 there. All right, so we got that constructing. Wine. That's interesting. I thought I saw something on here. It's surprising that it's not productive despite the fact that wine is kind of high in cost here. I'm guessing wine has gotten really expensive in Austria. But yeah, a lot of this stuff we're already taking care of, guys. You know, like the tooling, I believe we're already doing that as well. But you know, we can do a couple more of these despite the fact that we're already building several of them. Let's do 3 in New York there. All right, so I think that's good. I wanted to see where we're at on the telephones, but we probably haven't seen that update yet. There we go. All right, so 694. So we need a lot for the telephones. Now, of course, we're only producing 5, but that's because the electrics industries, they weren't making any money. And elevating our situation was removed from the journal, so we ran out of time to do that one. Yeah, we'll see that slowly go up, but frankly, we will need more. Yeah, we're gonna need a lot more because we're not even producing that much yet. So let's go ahead and do a few more. And do we want to keep doing them in Pennsylvania? Probably because of the large number of peasants we have there. Yeah, let's go and do a few more of these guys. We'll get up to like level 10 here. I said level 10. I went up to 11. We'll start building somewhere else after this, I suppose. So yeah, let's just tick down one of those. And you'll see they'll become more profitable. You know, start producing a lot more of this good as they get these employees here. That's the main issue. There wasn't really a high enough demand for the phones. And yeah, they need all this stuff here. Now we got the combustion engine. Excellent. So all this is going to... We found oil in California. All this is going to make rubber really expensive. We do not have enough rubber. So that's going to be a problem for us. But yeah, this is going to give us several new production methods. So motor industries to produce the cars here. It's going to take engines and then it'll produce automobiles. And then the barracks and conscription centers will make use of those automobiles as well as the oil. I doubt we'll use the urban center one, so that's not going to be a problem. The main use of cars, I think, is going to be in the barracks and conscription centers. So, man, I'm hesitant to change this up too much. Because, yeah, I don't know that we'll have that much of a demand for the cars. Because each of these only adds 1. A need for 1 for each level. Now, Pops do use automobiles, and they favor that as well for their transportation and communication needs. But yeah, I feel like if we change this up too much, especially when we want to change them in all of our locations, but yeah, we change it up too much and then we'll see that we'll have some issues. All right, so let's go ahead and get this automobile production started. And what's nice is that we don't have to build anything for it. It's just a production method, so it's really easy for us to change it up. And of course, we got to change it here, right? I don't know if this is going to actually be profitable for them. Looks like they're going to lose tons of money. But of course, there's no demand for... Yeah, it's the engines that are going to be ridiculous. But I feel like you got to build the cars here. Now, we're building a lot of engines. 500 less is not going to have that big of a change, it looks like. But it is going to require a lot more oil. So might need to take a look at that. But let's go and change over to that. Start producing some automobiles, and then we need to create a demand for that. Let's go under development here and change up the barracks and the conscription centers to use the motorized reconnaissance and create a little bit of a need for that. Looks like this will result in less rubber need though, so that'll be helpful. Less tools as well. So yeah, that's helpful. Alright, so we'll switch both of those up. And then we'll see how things look. Now, we do need to get some research selected. Been focusing over here for some time. I don't know if we want to go any further. I mean, this would be helpful for more steel. There's radio, but I don't think we can use that in the main places you use them yet. Now, pops, I think, consume them as well. Yeah, the barracks, conscription center, naval base. I don't know that we have the text to be able to use those. You know what? I think we're going to get this one here. Either that or the plasticware. Just make use of these resources, which we have plenty of, in order to create the things we got to need. The steel and the glass is always needed. So you know what? Let's do the plastics first. That'll be 20 months to get that knocked out. Could have also got a military tech. I don't know where we're at over here. Yeah, don't really need... Well, sea lane strategies is nice to have. So we could get that for the upcoming war. You know what? That's what we're going to do. Let's get anything that we need here for the upcoming conflict. So we'll get the sea lane strategies first, because that'd be helpful against the British. Let me just see where we're currently at on infamy. We're 23.8, so still need to burn it off a bit more. To get some events here, gold rush. Some more gold has been found in California. Okay, we're losing a lot of money, so we'll do the mine. It's all mine. And then with the oil, let's go with the caution again. We can go and declare neutrality here. We weren't offered anything. Alright, so yeah, we are losing tons of money right now, surprisingly. But again, it's not an issue because we do have 40.8 million in the gold reserves, and we've seen as our economy has continued to increase that we just get more and more money. I got 5% prestige there from film. Not enough to get us into the number 2 rank just yet. We're catching up to the British though. GDP significantly higher than both France and Britain now. Yeah, we just keep on climbing above them. But again, this is what I found. I think I mentioned this last episode. Is once you get above them, at that point you just skyrocket up, and it never really catches up. That's why I'm not really in a hurry to get there. Like a lot of people, oh, why don't you build more? And I kind of just build based on what I have, what I can afford to do, and I don't really jump ahead and go into debt to build. Because why? Why do you want to get ahead of the AI quicker? What's the purpose of doing so? I find that once I get significantly more powerful than the AI, that the game's not as fun. And so I don't know why you'd want to get to that point faster. I mean, I guess that's gaming logic, to just be as successful as you possibly can. But I typically try and maybe hold back a bit so that I don't, you guys see me doing this on Hearts of Iron 4 as well. Hold back a little bit so we don't beat the AI by too much. Make it a little bit more challenging. So we were able to get the Do You Hear That 2 event here. That was for the telephone. So they mentioned the telephone has opened the door to great improvements in our communication or in our electricity industry. So we could say we should improve our communication. This will give us a 4,000 progress on radio, or just write a letter. Electricity is for the industry. And this will give us electrics industries building throughput in Pennsylvania. So it'll build more phones. How are we doing right now? I mean, they're pretty bad right now. We are building in Pennsylvania. That takes time. Maybe I should tick that up to the top. So that could be beneficial. And yeah, we don't need the progress towards radio. So yeah, we're just gonna do this one, guys. Because yeah, we do have that shortage right now, which is pretty bad. So getting a little bit higher sell orders would help. Yeah, it's not as bad now, but as you guys can see, it's still pretty bad. What we might want to do is just tick that up to the top, because I didn't realize we hadn't done that yet. So yeah, we're going to tick many of those up to the top. Probably all of them, actually, because the costs are so bad. Try and focus on that. Try and get that problem solved. And yeah, unfortunately, we'll look at this event, but it is already the end of the episode here, guys. That's another event we've seen a million times. And I'll probably just eat that -1 there. Alright, so we still have not burned off enough of the infamy yet. We're getting there. But yeah, we got to burn off a bit more before we declare war on Canada. And this is another situation where we don't have to do that. we could declare war now. We could just go on a conquest spree and conquer everybody. Go after Canada first and then come down here and start conquering, and we could do whatever we want. But why do that? It's not like the warfare system. I know I talked about this earlier in the series, but it's not like the warfare system is all that entertaining or fun to play around with. I know a lot of people want me to do more war. It seems like I've been getting a lot more comments about it. But as you guys have seen, to me, the warfare system is just kind of tedious, and it's not fun to play with. If it was what it was supposed to be, where it's this hands-off system where you don't have to micro it, then whatever, we could just do the war and our generals will lead it, and I wouldn't even be concerned about it. We'll just continue playing as we're playing, and the generals will lead the war. But that's not the case. You do have to micro it. You do have to watch it. You do got to be there, and not in a fun way like Hearts of Iron 4, but like just babysitting. It's babysitting everything. And so, yeah, that's why I haven't done a lot of conflict, guys, just because, first of all, this campaign here isn't really focused on warfare and the military system. And other campaigns, I could see we'll be doing a lot more war. I just didn't want to exhaust Victoria 3 too much, like everything. Like, you go trying to do everything in one series. You do the colonization game here in Africa. You are heavily focused on diplomacy, lots of warfare, while also doing what we've done in this one, what we did with our politics. We passed a lot of laws, made a lot of changes here, and of course we had a heavy focus on the economy and building our economy up, and trying to basically focus on domestic production of every good that we could possibly produce. We're trying to not depend on other countries for any other good, and so that's kind of what we did in this one. If we had to how to do everything in this one, then what we'd do in the next campaign, or the campaign after that. Because this is a Paradox game at launch, there's only so much to do. This is the case with most Paradox games. They don't have a lot to do at launch. It's 4 or 5 years down the road that you'll find that the game has a lot more to offer. So yeah, I didn't want to focus on everything in this first campaign. So Warfare will probably be something we focus on in a later one. Same thing with colonization. We'll do that in a later series. But yeah, I also didn't want to focus on it simply because the Warfare needs some improvement. So why have the Warfare focused campaign be in 1.0 when in 1.1 and particularly 1.2, Paradox is going to make the Warfare system much better, much improved. So it just makes sense to wait on that. So those are the reasons why we haven't had the focus on the conflict, guys. Simply because the Warfare system's not very good at the moment. It's not very fun to play around with. And that's not the focus of this particular series. So we could, a lot of people pointing out, we could declare war. This infamy, it's not that big of an issue. We could do it and expand a bit more, but we're not for those reasons. So yeah, that is going to be the end of today's episode. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe to our channel, hit that notification bell, and leave a comment. Do hope to see you guys on the next one, and thanks for watching.